So hey guys. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to look at one of my favorites. What if scenario, and I know you guys were suggesting that to me. What if Izuku had dragon fire quirk? At the beginning of the story, Izuku was born with a stronger version of his father's quirk. But one day an unfortunate incident happened and as a result he gained another quirk called dragon fire. Wait, I am not going to give too many spoilers in the intro. All I can say is, you guys are gonna love this fanfic. Now let's start the story. A young boy was awoken from his slumber from a nearly elderly but young-looking woman. "Izuku, it's time to get up," she said with a smile. Izuku woke up with a smile on his face dressed up in honesty of his favorite hero, All Might. He looked up to the woman. "Morning grandma," Izuku said brightly. "Good morning my little green broccoli," the woman said as she patted his head. This woman was known as Nana Shimura, aka the hopeful hero, Paragon. Her quirk allowed her to fly at fast speeds and she was also super strong. Now she spends her time helping Inko raise her young grandchild. "You know what today is, right?" Nana asked. "Oh yay, I get to see what quirk I get," Izuku said. "I'll bet your quirk will be incredible," Nana said. With that, he rushed to the living room to greet his mother. Nana chuckled and smiled. "Energetic as always," Nana said. As the 4-year-old boy made it to the living room, she saw his mother, Inko, doing dishes. He ran up to her, then used his little arms to hug the slender girl's legs. This caught Inko's attention as she looked down to the little boy who looked up to her and smiled. "Mama," he said. "Oh hi there my little angel," Inko said with a smile, "did you sleep well?" "I honestly couldn't sleep enough," he answered truly. "I was too excited about today because it's special. We get to see what quirk I get." "At least you're honest," Inko said. "I'll bet you're excited." Izuku nodded vigorously. Nana made her way down to the kitchen. "Well Izuku, let's eat breakfast and then we'll get ready to go to the quirk doctor," Nana told him. "Yay," Izuku said. Suddenly the doorbell rang. "I'll get it," Izuku said. Izuku rushed to the door and opened it. It was their neighbor Toshinori Yagi. "Mr. Yagi," Izuku said. "Hey there, young Izuku. How have you been?" Yagi asked. "I've been good. Today's the day I get to see what quirk I get." "Are you excited?" Toshinori asked. "You bet," Izuku said. "When I get my quirk I'll be as cool as All Might." Toshinori couldn't help but smile at the boy's enthusiasm. He ruffled his hair and chuckled. "I'll bet it will be a great quirk. Have you been practicing the face?" "You mean this face?" Izuku asked. He did an impression of his favorite hero, the #1 hero in Japan, All Might. Strangely enough, Toshinori had a similar look to All Might. "That's the face of a true hero Izuku," Nana said. "Those who smile are the strongest." "Inko? How's life treating ya?" he asks her as he sees her washing dishes. Inko accidentally dropped a few plates on the floor, hearing Toshinori speak to her. "Oh my hi Toshi," Inko said with a slight blush on her face. Nana smirked knowing what was going on. Izuku was confused and turned to Nana. "Grandma what's going on?" he whispered. "Oh, I think you're a little too young to know what this is like, but let me tell you anyway. Your mother is in love with Toshinori," Nana told him. "What's that? Some kind of food?" Izuku asked. Nana snickered a bit. She then started to laugh loud and hold her stomach. "No sweetie, it's a kind of feeling a boy and a girl feel for one another," Nana said. "Mom, I'm right here," Inko said unamused. "Oh. Ahem. Sorry sweetie," Nana said as she went up to Toshinori and whispered into his ear. "By the way, my daughter is single again." Toshinori turned red hearing that. Nana snickered. "Mom, what did you tell him?" Inko asked. "Oh nothing. Now let's get some breakfast. Toshinori, please join us," Nana said winking at him. Alright then," Toshinori said. Nana had the feeling Izuku was going to be a lot like Toshinori when he grew up. After a well-balanced breakfast Izuku was getting changed. As he did so he felt his nose tickle then sneezed. As he sneezed a small flame came out. The flame was green and those who had noticed it were surprised by this. Although, Izuku didn't seem to notice it. "Is that okay, Izuku? I need you to take a deep breath and then breath out," Nana said. Izuku did just that and when he breathed out, he saw the green flame that everyone else saw. Did Kaken help with breakfast?" Izuku asked. "No. Why would he help out with breakfast?" Inko asked. "One time, Kaken dared me to eat whatever he made and it was so spicy that my mouth was literally on fire and I burnt down the room," Izuku noted. "Young Izuku, I think that only works in cartoons," Toshinori said. "You've never had Kaken's curry," Izuku told him. "He's only 4 yet he can cook?" Nana asked. "Apparently. Mitsuki told me that he acts like Gordon Ramsay," Inko said. Later on everyone was at the quirk doctor. Izuku has a few tests done in him. After a few minutes the quirk doctor came out with the test results. He looked to his mother. Alright. Before I tell you what his quirk is, what quirks do you have? The doctor asked. Inko demonstrated what her quirk could do by attracting Izuku's toy into her hands. Well, I can attract small objects towards me, and my late husband could breathe fire. Inko answered. Any other family members I should know about? The doctor asked. Well, his aunt Ryuko can turn into a dragon, and his grandfather on his biological father's side can do all sorts of things with his fire. Inko told the doctor. Well, then that actually explains his quirk then. The green flames that he emits can not only burn things, but it could also be used to heal himself and others. But, if he uses it to heal others it'll burn as if putting hand sanitizer on a cut. And there's bound to be other things that Izuku can do such as throwing fireballs and breathing fire. The doctor explained. Izuku had a shocked expression on his face. The doctor was concerned about him. Is he gonna be okay? He asked. He'll be fine, Nana said, he's just super excited. Reminds me of my son. Later on everyone was heading back home. Izuku looked up to Nana. Isn't it cool, Grandma? Izuku asked, I have a super strong fire quirk. I'm practically a human dragon. You sure are, Izuku, Nana told him. She then bent down to his level. When you become a hero, there's one thing you should make a habit of. She then made a big smile. Those who smile are the strongest, she told him, it means you're not afraid to face the danger, and it also assures people that everything will be alright. Izuku smiled and hugged Nana. Inko joined in on the hug. Nana pulled Toshinori into the group hug and smirked at him. Later on Izuku was at home, completely filled with excitement because of how amazing his quirk was gonna be. The next day passed and Izuku was in preschool. Dozens of kids showed signs of getting quirks including his friend Katsuki Bakugo. He could make firecrack. You and I are gonna be the next top heroes. He said. After preschool, Izuku was talking to Inko and Nana about his day. It was so awesome. Izuku said, everyone was amazed by my quirk saying I could be a big hero like All Might. Izuku said. Well, I'm certainly happy for you, Nana said. Even Kaken was impressed by it and he thinks my quirk is better than his, Izuku told her. Well, looks like that hedgehog head isn't afraid to admit things after all, Nana said with a chuckle. Inko chucked at this. Hedgehog head. She said. Well, when you're old enough, we'll get you signed up for some martial arts classes, Nana said, you can't be a hero with your quirk alone. Awesome. I'll be like a scorpion. But with powers of a dragon and not a demon. Izuku said. Inko turned to Nana and shot her a glare. What? She asked. Did you get him into Mortal Kombat? Inko asked her. No. That was probably Ryuko. Nana noted. Bro's Ryuko? Izuku asked. Oh, Izuku. You know who Ryuko is? Nana said. She's your wait, was he supposed to know? Nana asked Inko who just facepalmed. Oh, wait. You actually never knew my real name. You just knew me by my hero name. Said Ryuko from behind. Actually, I thought Ryukyu was your real name. Izuku said. Aw. Inko and Nana said startled by her sudden appearance. Seriously, if I was you Obami, I'd already bitten you by now. Ryuko said. Izuku saw his favorite aunt and ran up to her with arms open. Auntie Ryukyu. Izuku said as he ran up to her. Hey, my little dragon fire nephew. Ryukyu said as she picked up Izuku and lifted him over her head. Wait, how did you know? Izuku asked. Come on, your grandma loves to gossip, Ryukyu said. Hey. That's not true. Nana said. Mom, you gossip more than Dumbledore. Inko said. Speaking of gossip, your mom says you're still staying with Yagi, Ryukyu said with a shit-eating grin. Inko then looked at her mother with a glare. Nana looked at her innocently. What? She asked. Oh, don't you want me? Inko said, you know exactly what. Ryuko put an arm around Inko's shoulder and smirked. Come on Inko, we all know you like him, Ryukyu said. I do not, Inko said. Do too, Ryukyu said. Do not. Do too. Do not. Do too. Do not. Now listen here Ryuko. I say I do, and I meant what I said. I like Yagi. Inko said as she crossed her arms. Alright, Inko. You win. I'll take your word for it. Ryukyu told Inko. Thank you, Inko said. After a few seconds she realized she fell into a trap. Wait a minute. Inko said. Nana chuckled as she recorded the whole thing on her phone, smirking. Delete that. Inko warned. Nope, Nana said, now Izuku, why don't you show Auntie Ryukyu your quirk? Okay. Izuku said. Later on the three of them were outside. Izuku then demonstrated his fire quirk and what he could do so far with it. He could throw fireballs and also breathe fire. Ryuko was surprised by this. Oh. Lie. Shit. She said. Nana bonked her on the head. Watch your language. Mama, what does shit mean? Izuku asked. Ryuko looked like she was gonna bust a gut laughing at this. Inko pinched her nose, then looked to Izuku. Sweetie, it's a grown-up word. You don't need to know what it means, Inko said, don't say it either. At least until you're a teenager. Yes mama, Izuku said. Hey Ryuko, you mind taking Izuku to the park to play? Inko and I need to have a bit of a chat, Nana said. Okay, Ryuko said. Later on, Izuku was at the park minding his business and playing in the sand pit. He heard a cry of pain, then looked to his left. It was a gang of bullies picking on a kid. Izuku knew he had to do something. He rushed over to see two kids. One with wings and another with long fingers. They were picking on a boy with white hair. Hey. Izuku said. The two of them looked to see Izuku. Well, if it isn't the bookworm, the boy with wings said, here to lecture us on how to use our quirks. No, I'm here to stop you from picking on him. Izuku said, just because you have quirks doesn't mean you can use them however you want. Says who? The boy with long wingers said, you best beat it before we make you beat it. Izuku got into a fighting stance. He was determined to protect someone from getting bullied. And you best back off unless you want a fistful of explosion, a familiar voice said. Everyone turned to see Katsuki Bakugo. Oh hey boss. The boy with wings said, we were. Well. He started it. I saw the whole thing. Katsuki said, including the part where you were getting into a fight that was gonna get your teeth kicked in. Katsuki said, now beat it before I show you what an explosion can really do. The two of them ran like hell. Izuku turned to the boy. Are you okay? He asked. Hey, those guys were pushovers anyway, the boy said, all bark and no bite. But thanks for the help. I'm Sora K's. Izuku Midoriya, Izuku said, introducing herself, this is my friend Katsuki Bakugo. I should assume his quirk is firecrackers, Sora said. Sorta, Katsuki said, what's yours? I can manipulate air, Kei said, I know, Kindle-aim. Are you kidding? Izuku said, that's an awesome quirk. I can breathe fire and shoot fireballs. Ryuko noticed Izuku making a few new friends. And smiled to herself. Hisashi, if only you could see your boy now, Ryuko said. Later, Izuku was taken back to his house. Inko was doing dishes when she saw her son walk in. There's my little boy, Inko said. She bent down and gave Izuku a bunch of kisses on his little head. Did you have fun at the park? She asked. Izuku nodded with a big smile on his face. I also made a new friend, Izuku said, his quirk lets him manipulate wind. That's fun, Inko said. Yeah, those two hit it off pretty good, Ryuko said, if that kid were a girl. Auntie, stop. Izuku whined. Haha, I'm just saying. If you see a girl you like, you best get to her before Endeavor does. What do you mean? Izuku asked. You don't wanna know, Izuku, Nana said. Anyway. Since you can breathe fire and throw fireballs, you think you could emit wings, or can you also emit a tail as well? Ryuko asked. Why would I need to do that? Izuku asked. Come on. Do you know how much of a punch a dragon tail gives? Imagine a flaming tail. That would not only hurt, it would burn. Ryuko noted. But it's written in me journal. Boy, look, now you got him started. Inko said. This is gonna be a while, Nana stated. A while. After a while, Izuku was still muttering, unbeknownst to him that everyone was asleep while Ryuko was sleeping while standing up, still waiting for the end of Izuku's muttering rampage. However, it soon stopped after the door opened, revealing Toshinori. Mr. Yagi. Izuku yelled out. What? Is it over? Ryuko asked, snapping awake. Nana then saw that Toshinori was here and saw that Inko was still asleep on the couch. Hey Inko. Yagi is here. She told Inko while shaking her awake. Yagi, oh good, it's your turn to check on the baby, Inko said in her sleep. Nana tried holding in her laughter. She knew Inko had a big crush on Toshinori, but never suspected she dreamed about him. Meanwhile, Ryuko was laughing her ass off while rolling on the floor. Izuku shook his mother by the shoulder, trying to get her to wake up. Mama. Wake up. You're dreaming again. He told her. What? Izuku, go check on your little sister. Inko said, still barely awake. Mom, I don't have a sister. Izuku noted. Nana and Ryuko lost it and fell to the floor laughing their butts off, much to Inko's confusion. Mom, why are you laughing? And why is Toshinori's face so red he looks like he's about to faint? Inko asked, now fully awake. You dreamt you were married. Did I say who I was married to? Inko asked. You were dreaming that you were married to Mr. Yagi again, Mom. Izuku told her. Both Nana and Ryuko were also red, but for a completely different reason. The fact that they were both laughing their asses off. Izuku went to tug on Toshinori's shirt. Mr. Yagi, I have a question, Izuku asked, is it okay for heroes to be scared? Well, that's a strange question, where did this come from? Well, earlier I met a friend and he was getting picked on, Izuku explained. Part of me wanted to defend him and protect him, but another part of me felt scared. I see, well, heroes are always scared of a number of things, Toshinori said. Izuku listened with interest. In one of his many interviews, All Might talked about his fear of not being able to save someone in time. There's no shame in being afraid. I see, Izuku said, then I'll try to embrace my fear so I can become a good hero. The sound of thunder was heard and Izuku ducked down. BBBB, but since I'm not a hero, could you stay with us till the storm passes? An excellent idea, Toshinori, Nana said, that way you can get more acquainted with Inko. Hearing this, Inko fainted from embarrassment, leading to Ryuko laughing even harder. Nana smirked and secretly planned something. She then turned to Toshinori. Toshinori, be a dear and carry her to her room. Wait, you want me to carry her to her room? Toshinori asked. Yeah. You have my permission to even sleep with her. You don't exactly need her permission. She dreams of it all the time. Nana said. Alright then. Toshinori said in an embarrassed voice as he picked Inko up from the couch as he carried her to her room. What's happening? Izuku asked. You'll get it when you're older, sweetie, Ryuko said. Toshinori continued carrying Inko to her room as she was sound asleep. Wow, her skin is so soft, Toshinori said to himself. After a few seconds he finally made it to her room, then gently laid her on the bed. He smiled as he watched her sleep, then started to walk back downstairs. He felt something grab his arm and looked to see Inko holding onto him. I feel like I should wake her up, but she looks so peaceful, Toshinori said. Inko then started pulling him into the bed with her. Toshinori at this point was a blushing mess. Nana peeked in the door and snapped a picture and made a run for it. Oh, what the hell? He thought as he got into bed with her. After that, Inko hugged Toshinori as if he was a body pillow. Toshinori unconsciously kissed Inko's forehead. Nana saw this and snapped a photo of it. I am so teasing them for this, she said. Inko stirred awake after that long nap. She rubbed her eyes. MMMPH, how long was I out? Inko asked, feeling tired from just waking up. She looked around to see she was in her room. The lights were turned off and as she looked at the curtains, she could see bright daylight. Mom must have carried me to my room, she said as she looked around her room with a smile. She looked to over the side and saw Toshinori. Toshinori, Inko shouted. Toshinori sprung awake and fell off the bed. Why, he said with a dark red face. I'm not mad at the fact you were in my bed. Inko said, I'm just wondering how and why. She heard loud laughter from Nana and Ryuko, probably hearing Inko shout. She was about to confront them. However, Toshinori stopped her. He knew he had to ask her. Say, Inko, if you're free this weekend, he began. Yay. Inko said. I was wondering, Toshinori continued, would you like to have dinner with me sometime? Inko blushed. Is he asking me out? Oh, the hell with it, Inko thought to herself. I'd be glad to. Inko said as she smiled at Toshinori. She walked downstairs with a smile on her face. Toshinori smiled to himself, happy that he finally made the move. 3 years later. Nana was taking Izuku to a specific place to work on fighting skills. They were going to the dojo led by the hero Gunhead. Is it true that he's a professional fighter, Grandma? Izuku asked. Oh yes. His quirk is called Gatlin. Hence the name Gunhead. He doesn't use it very much, so he relies on martial arts. Nana said. Like the hobo hero? Izuku asked, causing Nana to almost burst out laughing. Yep. Like the hobo hero. She said, covering her mouth to stop herself from laughing. They made it to the dojo. Nana opened the door and they both saw people in a line practicing forms. Wow. Gunhead must have a problem. Nana said as she looked around the room seeing only 4 students. It's usually much more crowded in here. Gunhead looked over to his left and recognized his favorite student. Well, I'll be, Gunhead said, if it isn't Paragon. Gunhead. How's the dojo going? Nana asked. To be honest, no so good, Gunhead admitted, nobody's been signing up lately. Yeah. With how quirks are evolving, I somehow don't doubt it. Nana noted. She bent down and put her hands on Izuku's shoulders. Luckily you got a new contender. Is that so? Gunhead asked. He then took a look at Izuku. What's your quirk, kid? Izuku conjured a ball of fire in his hands. Alright, so your quirk is pyrokinesis? Gunhead asked. Actually, his quirk is dragon fire. Basically the same thing with extra steps. Nana explained. Uncle Gunhead is something on fire. The girl the same age as Izuku entered the dojo. Her hair was chestnut brown, as well as her face looked to be a perfect circle with a permanent blush across her cheeks. Don't worry, nothing's on fire. Who's she? Izuku asked. That's my niece, Achako Uraraka. She just now started her training. Gunhead noted. Hi. She said joyfully, I'm Ichako. I'm Izuku, Izuku said. At that, Nana and Gunhead smirked at each other. You thinking what I'm thinking? Gunhead asked Nana. Time went on and Izuku and Ichako had become fast friends as they trained together. During that time, Izuku learned various styles of combat and new ways to control his quirk. He came up with a kicking technique which he dubbed shoot style, seeing as the legs are stronger in combat than the fists are. A few days passed and Izuku was walking into his house. Hey mom, you're not gonna believe what I learned in clay. Hogig. He looked and saw something he wished he didn't see. His mom and Toshinori were on the couch, half naked. The two of them looked in shock as Izuku witnessed them making out as if they were hormonal teenagers. Oh my god. Izuku said. We can explain. Toshinori said. Oh my god. We can explain. Inko said. Ramna, mom and Mr. Yagi are making out like hormo. Izuku, no. Inko shouted. Meanwhile, with Nana. She was hiding behind a wall trying to hold in her laughter from it all. Anyway, how was class? Inko asked. It was fun, Izuku said. Gunhead taught me how to use my legs. Then I got the idea to channel fire into my kicks. I don't know what to call it yet, but it may be my new fighting style. That sounds wonderful, honey, Inko said. So back to the topic at hand, Izuku said. Why were you giving Mr. Yagi cooties? Nana lost it and fell to the floor laughing her ass off. He was gonna find out sooner or later, dear, Toshinori said. Wait, dear? Izuku asked. So you two are dating? Izuku asked, causing sighed. Yes, Izuku. We're dating. She said. We've been dating ever since the time Grandma had Mr. Yagi carry me to my room. Well, I approve, Izuku said. Mr. Yagi's always been like a father to me since I was young. Yeah, he has, hasn't he? To the point that you actually thought he was already married to your mother. Nana said, still laughing. Moving on, Inko said. You learned to use legs in combat. I figured you'd wanna punch stuff like All Might. Well, I can't rely on my fists all the time, Izuku said. As he did a practice kick, I already use those for ranged attacks. Plus the legs are stronger when it comes to a combat sense. Well, that is true, Toshinori said. All Might once had to use a few kicks to get the sludge creature off of him. He had an idea. Young Izuku, Inko and I need to talk for a minute. He took Inko by the hand and brought her upstairs to her room. He put on a ridiculous looking costume and turned towards Inko with some rope in his hand. Ashi, what are you doing? Inko asked. I am not Ashi, I am the Snake King, Toshinori said, disguising his voice and grabbing hold of her, and you are now my hostage. Mwahahaha. Inko couldn't help but giggle at this. I see what's going on here, Inko said with a smirk. I'll play along. Oh, I'm sure you will, Toshinori sighed. He then grabbed Inko by the shoulders and sat her on the chair. After a few seconds, Izuku heard a playful scream coming from upstairs. He rushed up to find Inko getting tied up by Toshinori, who was still wearing the weird costume. Izuku rushed back to his room and grabbed his All Might Onasi. Back in Inko's room, Inko was tied to a chair. Toshinori put a few socks around the chair, pretending they were snakes. Nobody can save you now, my pretty, Toshinori said in his villain voice. Oh, help me. Inko exclaimed. The doors suddenly were pulled open. Nana was wearing an old cape with Izuku dressed up in his All Might Onasi. We are here to save you, Izuku declared triumphantly. He noticed the snakes coming closer to Inko as Toshinori laughed evilly. The atmosphere of the room also looked different. It was darker than before, with the blinds closed, with nothing but a green light shining in the area. You're too late, Small Mike, Toshinori announced in a villain voice as he walked out of the shadows. He was in a ridiculous Jedi costume as he stepped out of the shadows. What are you doing to her, villain? Nana asked as she floated into the air. I'm having my small lizard spray gas around her body, Toshinori said as he put his arms on Inko's shoulders. Once the toxin is complete, she will become a hypnotized slave and rule by my side as my queen. Please help me, Mini, Inko said before a snake covered her mouth. Izuku started running towards his mother, prepared to rescue her. Grandma, you deal with the Snake King. But that Nana distracted Toshinori while Izuku went to free Inko from her prison. He removed the snake that covered her mouth. He used his quirk to cut the ropes, freeing her. Oh no, you don't. Toshinori shouted. Izuku pretended to breathe fire at the Snake King. Curses, foiled again by Mini Might. Toshinori exclaimed as he fell into a pile of clothes. Inko picked Izuku up and prepped him with kisses. Thank you, Mini Might, Inko said. Oh, you were just my little Izuku all along. Inko hugged her and son. Izuku hugged her back while laughing. Oh, Nana said, watching the mother and son duo. I think it's my turn to get some loving, Toshinori said. Inko put Izuku down and smirked as she walked towards him. Ah, my true king, Inko said, come here and give me some sugar. The two of them shared a kiss much to Izuku's disgust. You cooties. Nana chuckled as she looked onto the two of them sharing their feelings for one another. Later on the four of them went out to get some ice cream, with Ryuko tagging along. Someone with pink hair was watching them. He had secretly been watching Izuku for a while. He smirked to himself. Looks like he's learning to master his quirk or whatever they call it, he said, if only he knew what he was up against. Age 14. Izuku has been training his quirk for years with help from Ryuko. He grew up to be quite a popular boy because of his quirk. He was on his way to middle school. There was a villain versus hero fight happening. A few buildings were damaged by a bull-like creature wreaking havoc and running with a bag of jewels. On the other side, a new hero was making her debut as she was running towards the villain. When she got close enough, she turned giant and kicked the villain hard. "Don't stare too much, boys," she said. The hero had a purple and cream-colored costume and also had horns on a mask on her head. This was Mount Lady. Izuku was writing down notes on how his fire could combat a giant quirk. Someone noticed this. Writing down notes, well, that will make you a great hero. Thanks, Izuku said with a smile. While they were chatting, everyone was watching a sludge creature try and escape from police cars. Whoa, looks like a crazy one here, Izuku said. A few heroes were on the scene evacuating people from the crossfire. As this was happening, Izuku saw the sludge creature about to capture someone who was minding his business and listening to music on his phone. Hey, look out, he said. He grabbed something, jumped up and threw it at the eye of the creature. The monster screamed in pain as the civilian continued walking away, completely unaware of what almost happened. The sludge villain looked to see who threw that object. He spotted Izuku and glared. "Maybe I'll take you instead," he snapped. However, before anything could happen, someone jumped in front of the sludge villain. People recognized who it was right away. It was the #1 hero in Japan, All Might, with his trademark smile. "You won't be taking anyone. Because I am here." "Oh shit," the villain said, as his face started to turn into a look of fear. All Might pulled his fist back, preparing to throw one of his ultimate moves at the dastardly villain. Texas my ash. He threw a punch so hard, it emitted a blast of wind at the sludge creature, and it was split into multiple parts, some parts hitting the pavement, while others hit the sidewalk. Acting quickly, Izuku grabbed a water bottle and caught the pieces before taping it up nice and tight. He then gave it to All Might. "Dear sir," he said, "well, I should head to school before I'm late." After the whole scenario, Izuku decided to continue heading to school. Someone stopped him. "Hey, you were a hero back there," he exclaimed. "While you were on the sideline, you distracted that creature and saved someone. Without using a quirk, no less. Keep up the work and you'll make a great hero." "Thanks," Izuku said, as his face started turning red. He continued walking when he heard a familiar voice call to him. "Deku?" Ichako called out as she started running towards him with a smile. "Oh. Hey, Uraraka," Izuku said, waving at her. "Didn't I tell you to call me Ichako?" she asked. "Oh yeah," he said, scratching his head. "Anyway, I heard the news. You managed to help someone," Ichako said, enthusiastically. "Yeah, I guess I did," Izuku said. "We should head to class," Ichako said as she took his hand and dragged him to the school. "Amigadachikashilding me hand," he thought. Later on, class started. Izuku, Kitsuki and Ichako sat next to each other. Normally I'd hand out these flyers for career choices, but that's pointless because you all want to be heroes, right? Everyone cheered. "Come on, teach. Me, Deku and Round Face are gonna make it into UA," Kitsuki boasted with pride in his eyes. "Yes, I am well aware that the three of you are planning to go to UA," the teacher said, looking at his notes on his notepad. "Wait a minute," shouted someone, who sounded infuriated hearing about Izuku attending UA. It was Mizu, Izuku's crush whom he met at the dojo. Her quirk allowed her to manipulate water and create weapons out of it. She was a girl with pink hair, silver eyes, and usually had tape on her arms to prevent damage to her hands. "Why would UA allow a villain to go to their school?" she asked, a villain I may add who can manipulate fire. For all we know, he could burn down the entire school on his first day. Izuku started to slump down in his seat. Kitsuki was mad at that comment, while Ichako was fuming with anger inside. "I don't see why you have to be so mean," Izuku said. "I'm not using my quirk for villainy." "Like I'm gonna fall for that," Mizu said before turning to another student. "Someone like Kei's would be much better." Everyone turned to a boy with snow white hair that was tied into a sleek ponytail. "This is Sora Kei's. His age 14 and his quirk. Air. Basically this quirk allows him to manipulate and generate air. He can also glide in the air." "But Izuku said." Mizu walked over to Izuku and cracked her knuckles, glaring at him. "You make me sick," she said, "so shut it." "Hey," Ichako said, "what's your beef with Deku?" "Simple. He's a dreamer whose father abandoned him, probably because of his out-of-control fire quirk. He's probably planning to take over the world. Now hold on. Snapped Ochako as she stood up from her seat. How do you know he has any traits of being a villain just because he has a fire quirk? There's plenty of heroes in training that have fire quirks all over the world. Why would Midoriya be any different? Yeah. Another student said, standing up for him. Now listen here, Mizu began. That's enough out of you, Mizu. The teacher said, every student including Midoriya is capable of being a hero. Everyone took sides with Izuku, including Katsuki and Ochako. Later on, class had ended. The doors opened and the students were about to leave when they saw a famous hero. It was none other than All Might. Haha, I am here, looking for a specific student in this school. He said, would young Midoriya approach me please? Izuku walked forward, seeing his idol in the flesh. I would like to thank you personally for your assistance in the sludge creature incident, All Might said. All of the students who had drinks in their hands spat out in shock. Wyatt, they all shouted. You managed to make my job easier by helping a civilian escape and you caught the monster before he could get away. All Might said, and for that I thank you. All Might sir, I have a question, Izuku said walking up to him. Do you think someone with a quirk considered villainous or dangerous could be a hero like you? A lot of people, including my mother, say yes, but I'd like to hear it from you. All Might laughed and clapped the boy on the shoulder. Young man, there is no such thing as a villainous quirk or a dangerous quirk. It's not the quirk that makes the person, but the person that makes the hero. He whispered into Izuku's ear. There's also something I need to talk to you about, privately. He said. Okay, Izuku said. All Might then flew off. Later on, Izuku was walking home. He opened the door to see Inko and Toshinori making out on the couch. Izuku sighed and pulled out a whistle, then blew it, scaring the both of them. Izuku. Inko said. Sorry, I couldn't let you two spread your cooties in the house. The couple chuckled at this. So you in a rush or something? Toshinori asked. Yes actually, Izuku said. All Might said he was supposed to meet me, so I gotta head out soon. My boy, I don't think I can let you see All Might, Toshinori said. Why not? Toshinori then suddenly poofed into All Might before his very eyes. Because I am All Might. Hahaha. He said. Mom, is this for real? Izuku asked. Oh, it's very real, sweetie, Inko said. Anyway, that isn't the only thing I came to talk to you about, All Might said. After a few months, I've decided that you were worthy. Worthy of what? Izuku asked. Of wielding my quirk, All Might told him. Wait, would some us quirk is an impossibility didn't think of it, I think that was possible until nothing again 3 or some pretty mention out of the quirk Setherasamabe. Young Izuku, All Might said. Oh, sorry, Izuku said, sheepishly. You see, I wasn't born with this power. It was passed on to me by none other than your grandmother, All Might continued explaining. This power is what gives those the power to save someone with a smile. The name of that power is called One for All. One for All, Izuku said with an intrigued expression on his face. And I pick you to be the next wielder. There was a knock on the door. It was a man with pink hair and a woman with blonde hair and big watermelons. What? Ah, shit. I thought there wasn't going to be any fourth wall breaks this time. Anyway, I'm Natsu. And this is my wife Lucy. Hi, Lucy said. Wait, the Dragon Slayer? Izuku asked, you're real? In the flesh, bud, Natsu said with a smirk. I hear your quirk is fire. Yes. But not just any fire. Dragon fire. Izuku told him. That must mean you're Hisashi's boy. Lucy said. How do you know my dad? He used to come by train at Fairy Tail all the time, Lucy explained, even gave my husband pointers. Did that guild have a red-haired bitch out of curiosity? Ryuko asked as she walked out of the kitchen. You mean Urza? Lucy said. I want to challenge that bitch again, Ryuko said. Moving on, Lucy said, we've heard what you can do and we were thinking, why not come to Fairy Tail and train with my husband? Soon you'll do more than just breathe fire. Izuku had sparkles of excitement in his eyes and his smile grew 10 miles wide. I'd be honored. Izuku exclaimed happily. Then it's settled, Natsu said as he tossed him a key. What's this? This is a key that can instantly get you to Fairy Tail. We can start training you on magic. Izuku was with Katsuki and Ochako as they were in his room. Okay, what's this about Deku? He asked. Okay, I think I found a way for us to train up for the entrance exams. But first, let me ask you something, Izuku said. Do you know of a place called Fairy Tail? Of course, Ochako said. Uncle Gunhead used to tell me bedtime stories about that place all the time. Oh, it's no bedtime story, Izuku said. The place is 100% real. Ochako and Katsuki stared at him for a moment. What? I know. It's hard to believe. But it's true. I even have the key to get us there. Izuku told them. He held up the key and pretended he was opening a door. That door opened, revealing a portal. The three of them walked into said door and found themselves in another land. Well. Holy crap, Kitsuki said. Welcome to Fairy Tale. Izuku said, normally people with magic come here to train, but they're also welcoming to those with quirks as well. Natsu nodded the trio and ran over to them. Izuku, you made it. He said. And you brought some friends too. Lucy said, hi, my name is Lucy. This is my husband Natsu. Wow, what a beautiful person, Ochako thought. Alright, when can we learn some magic to kick someone's ass? Kitsuki said, I'm all fired up and ready to go. I am pretty eager to learn. Are we gonna learn magic that is related to our quirks? Ochako asked. That would actually make sense. Izuku said. You could say that. Lucy said, so Uraraka was it? Ochako nodded. What's your quirk? I can make objects eyeless by touching them, Ochako said, observe. She tapped Kitsuki making him float in the air, much to his annoyment. Oh, come on. Why do I have to be the test subject? Kitsuki shouted, angrily waving his arms. So for you Izuku, we're gonna teach you some fire magic, since that will match your quirk. I'll find you a flying teacher, Ochako, Lucy said. Oh boy. Ochako said. And as for you Kitsuki, what's your quirk again? Natsu asked. I can create explosives using my nitroglycerin sweat. Kitsuki said. In that case, I think blood magic would suit you. Natsu told him. Wait, hold on. About the magic I'll be learning. Do you have gravity magic? Ochako asked. You'll actually be learning that later on. Lucy said. Ochako was happy about this. She turned to Izuku with a big smile on his face. Thanks for bringing us here Deku. She said. Without thinking she pecked him on the cheek. Izuku stood there turning so red it would put tomatoes to. Lucy and Kitsuki all laughed at the sight of this. I see nothing funny here, someone said as they walked towards the trio. It was Urza Scarlet, the most feared warrior in Fairy Tale. Nice to see you too, Urza. Natsu said. So, who are these pipsqueaks? Urza asked. Trainees getting ready for the UA entrance exam. Well, this should be fun, Urza said. I hear that they're working on a program to allow people with magic to attend as well. That means there may be 4 hero courses, 2 for quirks, and 2 for magic. Kitsuki looked at Urza. Who's this old lady, he said. Did you just call me an old lady, you blonde little shit, Urza shouted. Don't call me little. I'll call you little whenever the fuck I want, you little gremlin. Urza shouted again. Oh boy. Izuku said. Here we go again. Ochako said. Izuku was training with Natsu, Ochako was training with Lucy. As for Kitsuki, he was the unfortunate soul who ended up being trained by Urza. Shut the fuck up, narrator. You shut the fuck up. Why don't you come up here and make me tough guy? Kitsuki shouted. Why don't you come up and make me come down there? I am gonna come up there and I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. Kitsuki shouted at the narrator, then got hit in the head by Urza. Stop arguing with the narrator and keep at it. Urza shouted. You wanna be a blood mage, then keep your head out of your ass. You hag. Hit me again and I'll kai. Oh, shut the fuck up and get back to training. Shouted Urza as she backhanded Kitsuki again before turning back to the narrator, and you. Quit breaking the fourth wall and get back to writing. Don't tell me what to do, you fucking whore. Shut the fuck up and get to work, and if I see you slacking, I'll beat the shit out of both of you. She then went outside, slamming the door. Hey, I'm really sorry, Kitsuki said. Yeah, me too. She's worse than us. Yeah, she's our enemy now. Izuku was focusing on a ball of fire without using his quirk. Keep focusing, Izuku. You'll have much better control over your fire once we're done here and even sprout wings. Just keep focused. Natsu said. He noticed someone speeding around, leaving behind some kind of cyberspace trail. That person stopped, revealing himself to be Sora. Oh, hey Midoriya, Sora said. You two know each other? Natsu asked. Yeah, we go to the same school, Izuku said with a smile. He's popular with the ladies. Oh yay, I never saw your quirk in action. Well, it's a mix of my parents. My mother had air magic and my father had some kind of cyberspace quirk, and I managed to get a perfect combination out of both. Intriguing, Izuku said. Observe, Sora said. There was a battle dummy facing Sora. He started running around in a circle, leaving a cyber trail. That trail emitted a gust of wind, blowing the dummy up. Sora then jumped up, throwing a few fast-paced kicks, emitting blasts of air, destroying the dummy. Everyone was amazed by this, especially Izuku. Okay, now try and focus 2 fireballs in each hand as you breath out fire. Natsu said. Without using your quirk. Okay. Izuku said with a smile. Meanwhile, with Ochako. Ochako was focusing on different objects as she also had a gravity vortex below her, with objects going in the vortex, with her having the objects orbit around her. This one has potential, Marikov said as he watched her train. Yep. She's now able to take away gravity without having to touch something or someone and do quite a bit more with the gravity around her. Lucy said. I wonder what talent the little one will have, if you know what I mean, Levi said, pointing to Lucy's stomach. Oh, who knows? Lucy said as she rubbed her stomach. I still have yet to tell Natsu the big news. The future heroes were improving greatly with their magic quirk training. They were sure to be ready for the entrance exam soon. A few months had passed since the trio started training in Fairy Tail. Ichako earned some gravity magic while also improving on her zero-gravity quirk. Kitsuki was still getting yelled at by Urza. As for Izuku. Izuku walked out of the training room, shirtless. He had more muscles than he had before. His training rocketed sky high. Not only could he breathe fire and shoot fireballs, he could also make shift objects out of fire, like wings. Ichako got a look at him and got a nosebleed. Humana. Kitsuki whacked her on the head with a newspaper. Go to horny jail, he said. Oh, shut up. Ichako said. Natsu walked out of the same room and he patted Izuku on his right shoulder, smiling. You like him, Lucy said. No, I don't. Not like that at least. Ichako said, besides, I can't hold a candle to Mizu. Well, I certainly am proud of you, Natsu said, you're more than ready for the entrance exams. Thanks for everything you've done, Izuku said. They heard hearty laughter, coming from none other than All Might. He was joined by Inko and Nana. Who's the big guy? Natsu asked. Wait a minute, All Might, Lucy said. The one and only. All Might said. You know this guy, Lucy? Natsu asked her. Yes. Lucy said, he helped us with one of the guild duels against a group of monsters. You were there, remember? Oh yay, the guy who can change the weather with just one punch, Natsu said. Wait a minute, that means you're holy cow, it's Paragon. So what's the occasion, guys? Izuku asked. Well, we came to see how your training was going, Nana told him. We're also here to share some big news, Inko said. What news? Izuku asked. Well, you know your mother and I have been dating for a while now, All Might said. Izuku nodded. Well, we're about to move to the next big step, Inko said. Big step? Inko stepped forward and showed Izuku a ring on her finger. Wait, you have her ring? That's the big step? Izuku asked, confused. Izuku, look what finger it's on. Inko said. Izuku took a look at the ring again and realization hit him. All Might proposed to Inko. They're getting married, Izuku shouted. That's right. Inko said, we're gonna be one almighty family. Izuku stood there for a few seconds. Ichako knew what this meant. Oh no. Ichako said. Here it comes. Kitsuki said. Izuku fell to his knees crying happy tears in the form of a geyser. I think he approves, Nana said with a smile. Holy shit. Natsu shouted as he saw the geyser of tears that exploded out of Izuku's eyes. Oh, you should have seen him when he got his quirk, Nana said. She looked to her left to see Ryuko, who was beaten up. She smirked knowing why. Don't say a word, Ryuko said, walking away. Well, young Izuku, I think now you are ready to receive my power, All Might said with a smile. Wait, you mean that power that made you responsible for defeating that all-for-one guy? Natsu asked. Lucy then gave him a glare. What? Oh, oops. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. But grief, honey, what am I gonna do with you? Lucy said, besides, all-for-one is long gone. Oh, right. What happened to that old geezer again? Bit off more than he could chew? Natsu asked. You don't need to worry, Toshinori said while taking a strand of hair out. He then turned to Izuku with a smile. Eat this. Was all Izuku said. At this, Natsu started laughing his ass off. Nana joined in on the laughter. Well, to inherit my power you have to swallow my DNA. Oh wait, he's not joking. Natsu said. He then started laughing harder. Izuku then ate the hair. After he ate it, he started to choke on it. He then snatched Ichako's water bottle to get a quick drink before giving it back to her. Wait, is this an indirect kiss? Ichako thought. Thanks for that, Ichako. Izuku said. And he called me by my first name, Ichako shouted in her head. She then looked at her water bottle, then started chugging it. Kitsuki then got out a bat and then bonked her on the head. Later on they all headed back home. Izuku was thinking for a few minutes. What's the matter, Izuku? All Might asked. Well, I haven't used one for all, but I think I understand it, Izuku said. You know how you always go into muscle form? Yeah. Have you found a way to make yourself all muscle bound too? All Might asked. Not exactly, Izuku said. I was thinking if I used it on one part of my body, it would just be wasting effort. Then I thought of you in muscle form and got the idea that you were adjusting OFA throughout your entire body. And it gave me this idea. Izuku then closed his eyes and tried flowing one for all within him. His skin started to glow a bit and veins appeared throughout him. He also had green sparks dancing around his entire body. To kick things up a bit, he had a bit of his flames dancing around him as well. At an output of 5%, this is one for all, full Inferno. Impressive, young Izuku. What else can you do? All Might asked. Not yet, but we have 2 months left until the exam to find out, Izuku said with determination. After a few more days of training, it was finally time for the big moment. The entrance exam. The trio of friends walked to the gates of UA. Kitsuki started walking forward. Well, see you lovebirds inside. He said. Izuku and Ichako turned red at that comment. Shall we head inside? Izuku asked. Why yay, sure. Ichako said. The two started walking inside. Izuku noticed Mizu in front of them. Oh hey Mizu, he said. Mizu looked and saw Izuku, her face turning to disgust. Get away from me, villain, she said. Oh, give me a break. Izuku isn't a freaking villain. Ichako told the pink head. Honestly, you'd do yourself a favor by ditching him. Ichako. He's just gonna drag you down to his villainous path. I know my quirk may seem villainous, but maybe I can change your mind after we hang one day and… Midoriya. You're annoying. Mizu coldly said. She went off to find Sora. Sora? She asked. Ichako patted Izuku on the shoulder. You okay? She asked. Let's just go. Izuku said. They went inside and took the written portion. Then it was time for the meat of the exam. The physical part. The pro hero present Mick was talking about how the exam was gonna go. There were robots across the city split into multiple areas. One robot was worth 1 point, others worth 2, and so on and so forth. Excuse me sir, may I ask a question? He said. Go ahead buddy. You only mentioned 3 robots when there are only 4, is this a mistake from the most prestigious school? And you? The one of the unruly green hair. The boy said. You've been mumbling this whole time. Stop that, it's distracting the people around you. If you can't take this seriously then leave. Izuku slumped down. Hey you four-eyed asshole. Ichako shouted as she stood up, he's just excited about the exam like others. Maybe you should shut your pie hole and let him get his excitement out. Okay let's not fight each other. Present Mick said, now on the bus. After everyone was in the city, Izuku spotted Ichako doing some stretches. He was gonna go and wish her good luck. However he was stopped by the blue-haired boy. You wouldn't happen to be trying to distract her would you? He asked. What? No. Izuku said. Kitsuki approached the boy. Listen bub, are you Round-Face's boyfriend? Kitsuki asked. No, but… Then mind your business. Kitsuki snapped. Izuku and Ichako laughed at this. Already making friends, Izuku said. Go. Present Mick said. Everyone started running off fighting robots. Izuku channeled full Inferno around his body. Wings of flames appeared on his back. He started flying around and shooting fireballs at robots that came his way. Meanwhile Ichako was making robots weightless by touching them. Release. She said. The robot started to drop down, earning her a few points. She then started to levitate and fly around looking for more robots. In a secret room, people were watching. Natsu and Urza were among them. Midori has been improving on his quirk and fire magic. He said, making me proud. Sora was dashing around at high speeds, smashing a few robots in his path. He saw one robot about to attack an examinee. He dashed forward and jumped into the air, performing a flurry of fast-paced kicks, emitting blasts of air, destroying the robots. Mizu was using her water quirk to develop weapons such as kunes. She was like some kind of ninja. She slashed her way through the robots that were getting in her way. Izuku was trying to find a few more robots. He was up to 50 points so far. He sensed a robot was coming near him due to its heat signature. Izuku turned around, channeling Ofa into his right arm, and veins appeared around it. Smash. He punched the robot hard, sending it flying into other robots, earning him 30 points. Wow, that's new. Izuku said. Sora dashed by him. Wow, looks like you got some kind of super strength magic as well. He said. Yeah, you could say that, Izuku said. Well, gotta run. Sora said as he dashed away. These new years look promising, Nezu said, but let's see if they have what it takes to fight this. He pressed a button. As Izuku was running around he heard footsteps. The footsteps were getting louder and harder. Everyone looked and saw a behemoth of a robot. It was the Zero PTR. Some people started to evacuate. Ichako used her flying to help evacuate the others, while Kitsuki blew away some debris preventing them from leaving. Izuku saw Mizu and Sora facing the robot. He knew he had to do something. He channeled Ofa throughout his entire body and dashed over to the robot. He then jumped up and got ready to breathe fire. He opened his mouth and flames in the shape of a serpent came out. The flames were so strong, it sent the robot falling down to the ground. Izuku then jumped down and smashed the robot to pieces with a strong punch using only 20%. Everyone witnessed this and were amazed by it. Izuku turned to Mizu, who was surprised by this. "Are you okay?" he asked. He offered her his hand, but she smacked it away. "Don't touch me, you monster," she shouted in cold blood. Izuku was stunned by these words. "Monster? But I..." "Shut it. I have never liked you," Mizu said. "You're so smug, thinking you can be a hero with that dangerous fire quirk of yours. You're nothing more than a villain waiting to happen." She then turned her back to Izuku. "I don't understand why you're so mean to me," Izuku said. "I just saved your life, and the least you can do is be grateful. You know, if you want a girlfriend, the best thing you can do is take a swan dive off a lake and pray that a girl falls in love with a hopeless nothing like you in your next life." Izuku looked down to the floor. He then ran off. Ochako and Kitsuki called out his name, but he ignored them. The other examinees turned to Mizu and glared at her. "What?" Ochako walked up to Mizu and punched her hard in the face. "What the fuck is wrong with you, you fat hooker?" Ochako shouted. "Who are you calling a fat hooker, you broke brunette whore?" Mizu shouted back. "I thought we were friends, Mizu," Ochako said, "but after what you said to poor Deku, I don't see why we're still friends at all. He saved your life by punching that big fucking robot in the face, and you repay him by suicide baiting him." "He didn't save my life." "He ruined Sora's moment," Mizu said. "Your mind is chock full of Sora. What does he have that Deku doesn't?" Ochako shouted before turning to Sora. "No offense. None taken." "Well, how about the fact that Sora has a quirk that actually is for heroes?" Mizu shouted back. "If Midoriya decides not to enter UA, he'd do the world a favor." Ochako was furious. She then decked Mizu across the face, having her fall over. She then walked off to go find Izuku. "Mizu, if I may. Why do you hate Midoriya?" Sora asked. "You're joking, right? He's nothing compared to you. Plus he makes me sick. You wanna know why he's so annoying? 'Cause he wasn't raised right. He only had his mother to rely on and didn't have a father to teach him how to use his quirk. He just goes and does the first thing that goes to his head." Everyone was listening to Mizu and her berating of Izuku and were offended. But Sora was offended most. "That's now how a hero goes into action, they're supposed to wait till given orders," Mizu said, smirking. "If I did something as reckless as him, I'd get expelled and possibly grounded for life. But how are you gonna know what's right or wrong if you don't have a dad to tell you how to act? You're way better than him. He's selfish and dangerous. He's all alone." Sora then took a deep breath. "You know what, Mizu? Maybe it's best if we don't talk anymore," he said. "What do you mean?" Mizu asked. "You say Midoriya is alone, but you mean isolated," Sora said. "Having parents to scold you doesn't compare to what he's been through. You have no idea what it means to not have a father that supports you." "Why are you saying that?" "Because, you make me sick." Mizu stood there turning pale as Sora walked away. Other examinees looked at her with utter disgust. "I'm just gonna say it. You get what you fucking deserve," said a crowhead. They all walked away, leaving her to herself. First Prev ch8 of 22 next. Review. Jump. Share. Email.facebook.twitter. Story. Follow favorite. Author. Follow favorite. Contrast. Dark.light. Font. Small.medium.large.xl. Twitter.help.signup.cookies.privacy.terms-of-service fanfiction.net. Just in. Community. Forum. B. More. Dragonfire by SHONENKING94. Fairy Tale in My Hero Academia O tilde no grave umlaut I acute umlaut sent C sedilla est set sense overrated. T. English, Adventure and Romance, Izuku M, Ochako Unatsu D, Lucy H, Words. 31k plus, favs. 110, follows. 110, published. June 20, 2023 updated. April 20. 18 Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Confession and Results. Ochako rushed to Izuku's apartment and knocked on the door. Inko answered it, knowing what she was here for. "Thank goodness you're here, Ochako. Izuku is in his room," Inko said. Ochako made her way up and went to Izuku's room. She knocked on the door. "He please go away, I'm a monster." "Izuku, please open the door," Ochako said. There was nothing but silence. Ochako started to get worried. The door suddenly opened up, revealing a teary Izuku. Ochako immediately embraced the poor boy. Izuku was surprised by this and decided to hug her back. "Izuku. Nothing that Bimbo said was true," Ochako said. "And I'd be surprised if you still have feelings for her. You're too good for her, Izuku," Inko said. But my quirk is your quirk and nothing more, nothing less. All Might himself said that there's no such thing as a villainous quirk. It only depends on how you use it," Ochako said. She hugged him close once more. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot to judge you. You're surrounded by people who care about you and love you. Including me. She quickly covered her mouth. Wait, what? Why yes, Izuku. I know that you probably need some time after getting harshly rejected by that bimbo, so I won't force anything on you. You don't even have to give an immediate answer. Ochako told him, but I need you to unders. She didn't get to finish as she felt a pair of lips on hers. Izuku was kissing her. He opened his eyes realizing what he was doing and pulled away. I'm so sorry, I don't know what I was. At that, Ochako wrapped her arms around Izuku as she pressed her lips on his and then kicked the door closed with both in Izuku's room now. Inko saw the whole thing and was shocked but also happy that Izuacha got together. Before Izuku could finish his sentence, Ochako tackled him as she started making out with him as she kicked the door closed. Don't go too crazy in there. Inko said as she walked off to give the two teenagers privacy. Teenagers. A few days had passed. Izuku was waiting for his test results. Izuku was eating dinner with the family as he was just staring blankly at a fish. Earth to Izuku. Ryuko said. Izuku snapped out of his trance. What? Izuku asked. Someone seems nervous. Nana said. Well, that's because I am. It's been 2 weeks since the entrance exam. Izuku noted. Why would you be nervous? You did great according to Tashi, Inko said. Speaking of which, have you two done the thing? Ryuko asked. The thing? Izuku asked, am I getting a sister? Ryuko laughed at this. You just might, Izuku. She said. Actually, where do babies come from? Inta turned pale with the sound of glass breaking. That was actually a plate so it fits, haha. Oh well, you see Izuku, Inko said, nervously. Well, Izuku. Babies come when a man and woman foo. Inko grabbed a frying pan. No. Aw, come on. He's old enough to know about this stuff. Ryuko said. A few more days passed. One morning, Izuku was in his room lifting weights. The door barged open revealing Inko, her shirt unbuttoned with her bra showing, and no pants on. Izuku. It's here. Inko said calmly as she handed the letter to Izuku. Whoa mom, where's the fire? He asked, also why are you half naked? Not important. A letter from UA came in the mail today. Inko said. Izuku took the letter and closed the door. He saw All Might on the screen. He talked about how he was gonna be a teacher before going on to Izuku's scores. He earned a 100% on the written portion and earned over 200 villain points, earning him a spot at UA. However, there was another hidden portion. Rescue points. By saving a few examinees he earned 60 points totaling up to 260 points in total. I did it, Izuku said. Inta hugged Izuku tightly shaking him. My baby boy's going to UA. Izuku smiled. Later on he went to the grave of his father and bowed down. Well dad, I made it into UA, he said, I hope to do you proud. Earlier last night. Ashinori finally got home after doing so many videos for examinees. He was greeted by Inko who had a big smile on her face. Welcome home darling, she said. Before he could get in a word, Inko seized his lips. The two of them started to make out like hormonal teenagers, feverishly attacking each other's lips. Toshinori fell backwards, falling on the bed, with Inko on top. The mid-chubby woman thought she was crushing him, but he didn't mind. I love you, Toshinori said. I love you too, Tashi, Inko said. Toshinori got a glimpse of Inko's chest shaking a little bit as she moved. She then blushed and turned away a bit. She was a bit self-cautious about her body. Inko, I'm not ashamed or anything, looks aren't everything, Toshinori said to her, it's not the person you are on the outside, it's on the inside that counts. But if anything I think you're beautiful as you are. Inko smiled and then turned to face him once again. She took one of Toshinori's hands and brought it up to her left breast. Toshinori looked at her and she nodded in approval. He gently squeezed the left breast, earning a soft moan from the green-haired woman. He continued squeezing it lightly, then slowly turning to rougher grabs. He could tell Inko enjoyed it, so he incorporated the action onto her other breast, to which she felt extreme pleasure, loving the feeling of his hands touching her body. Inko then moved to the hem of his shirt and took it off, exposing his muscles and well-toned stomach. Toshinori then took off her jeans. They kept undressing each other until they were in their underwear. Toshinori was in his boxers while Inko had her shirt unbuttoned and her bra hanging from the sides. Her breasts were quite big and plump outside of the bra. Don't be shy, Tashi, go ahead and touch me, Inko said. Toshinori moved closer to his fiancée, kneading her breasts. He began to massage and grope them, making Inko let out a few hushed moans. After a bit of fondling, Inko felt a bit wet in a specific area. Toshinori felt hard in the same spot. They held each other close and smiled. So we're actually doing this, Inko said. Looks like we are, Toshinori said. No matter what happens, I love you, Inko said. She spread her legs, and Toshinori aligned himself with her cha-cha before putting his hoo-hoo dilly inside. It hurt a little bit, but Inko was fine. Toshinori started thrusting inward back and forth. Inko didn't know why, but she was feeling immense pleasure from this feeling. This continued for a few minutes. Toshinori held Inko close while playing with her breasts, giving her even more pleasure. Inko started to feel something and moaned in delight. Soon after, the two lovers were holding each other in the bed while sleeping soundly. Izuku was standing in his new UA uniform and had everything he needed. Toothbrush, books, binders, everything. He was about to leave. "Izuku, I'm proud of you," Inko said, "and your father would be too. You'll save so many people one day." Izuku smiled and hugged his mother before departing. He went to Achako's apartment to pick her up. When he did, Achako immediately opened the door, smiling when seeing Izuku at her doorstep. "Ready to go?" Izuku asked. "Not yet," Achako said. She then kissed Izuku on the lips. "Now I'm ready." She then jumped on his back. "Onward, my hero." "Ah ha ha. Alright then, Achako," Izuku said as he started carrying her on his back. Achako then rested on his back with her watermelons pressing against him. Izuku felt them on his back as his face started to heat up. "Eku? Are you okay?" Achako asked. "Of course. Why wouldn't I be?" Izuku asked, trying to remain innocent. Achako smiled. "Looks like Lucy's advice worked out," she thought to herself. She then rested her chin on his shoulder. As they kept walking they noticed Katsuki and another girl by his side. Well if it isn't Liu Kang and Katana," Katsuki said. "Hey Kaken. Who's she?" Izuku asked. "The name is Kami. It's totes fab to meet you fam. I'm Izuku and this is my girlfriend Achako Uraraka," Izuku said. "Hi," Achako said. "You?" shouted a too familiar voice. They all turned to see Mizu, whose makeup was melting on her face from crying. "This is your fault," she said, "this is all your fault." She lunged at Izuku prepared to attack him. Before she could do anything, gravity in her general direction had increased, stopping her in her tracks. "I don't know what the hell you're on about, but I need to ask. What are you blaming Izuku for this time?" Achako asked. "My crush rejected me saying I make him sick," she said, "because of this villain." "Oh. Yeah, right. The airbender has a brain after all. That's not Izuku's fault you pink roach. That's your own damn fault." Achako told her, "Basically you were mean to him without even getting to know him." "Achako, how can you side with him? I thought we were friends." Mizu said, "We've been best friends since we met at the dojo." "Yeah. Then I saw that you're a nasty mixture of Sakura and Umbridge," Achako told her. "Pinning the blame on Izuku is gonna do you no good. If you wanna blame someone, blame yourself." She took Izuku's hand and they walked into the school. Izuku didn't even bother to look at Mizu after what she said to him. "She got you there. I'm honestly wondering how and why they were friends with you to begin with," Katsuki told her. "Totally not cool, fam," Kami added. At that, Katsuki and Kami walked in the school after Izuku and Achako, leaving Mizu behind. They finally reached the door that said 1A. Izuku went first and opened it. As soon as the door opened he saw other students. Sora noticed the quartet and waved over to them. "Heyo," he said, "looks like we're classmates." Katsuki took his spot near a desk. Kami walked over to him. "Why don't you make some room so I can sit on your lap boo," Kami said. Katsuki made some room. Kami jumped on top of him and started to kiss him. "Boo, get freaky," a pink-skinned girl said. Achako made herself comfy on Izuku's lap. The door suddenly barged open. "Attention," shouted a voice that Katsuki knew all too well. It was Urza Scarlet. "Ah fuck, it's the old hag," Katsuki said. At this, Urza decked him across the face as he went flying across the room. "I like her," Azawa said. "Alright. Listen up. If you're gonna want to be heroes then you'll need to act like heroes. For training, we're going to have a 1-on-20 and whoever gets the closest to defeating me in combat wins. But the one who sucks the most will be expelled here and now. Do you understand?" Urza shouted. "Yes, sir," the class said in unison. "I'm a woman," Urza shouted again. Everyone fell backwards in a cartoon manner. "Yes ma'am," everyone shouted in unison again. "Good," Urza said. "Now Mr. Azawa will give each of you a gym uniform." Later on everyone was outside in their gym uniforms. Urza was standing on the other side in her battle armor. "Now who's first?" Urza said. The kid with purple balls on his ugly head walked up volunteering. The other kids laughed at the author's description of him. "Well, ballhead. Looks like you're first. Step forward, squirt," Urza told him. "It's an honor to duel with such a hot eye," he said. He then dashed forward, only to be met with a fist, sending him flying. "Anyone else?" Urza asked in a loud voice. Katsuki went up next. "Time to put this old ha." Urza then kicked Kitsuki square in the nuts. Quirk. Why bring my testicles into this? Kitsuki squealed. Next up was a kid with red hair. Bring it, he said as he hardened his skin. Urza just slugged him across the face and then uppercut him. She brung it, he said as he fell backwards. I see your quirk involves hardening your body, Urza said, great for offensive and defensive combat. What is your name, boy? Ejiro Kirishima, and I plan to be a manly hero. Kirishima said as he got back up into a fighting stance. Well, you can get back up at least, Urza said. She then got out her sword. Let's see if you can take this. Oh, I can last for more than 10 minutes. Kirishima said. Literally not a full minute later. Oh, everything hurts. Kirishima said. You have heart and determination, I can give you that, she said. Others lasted a few more minutes, like a kid with a lightning quirk, a girl with earphones, and a boy who can dispense tape. Sora also went up and held his own against Urza, lasting more than the others. After a few more students went, Izuku then stepped forward. Finally. A worthy opponent, Urza said. If I'm gonna fight this woman, I better go for it, Izuku said to himself. He channeled One for All and his fire magic around his entire body. One for All, full Inferno, 20%. Alright. Let's see if Dragon Breath taught you anything. Urza said. Izuku lunged at Urza, flames in his hands. He threw 2 fireballs at Urza. Urza dodged left and right evading them, then got out her sword. She swung it at Izuku who jumped over her and did a kick to the back, sending her flying until she landed in the sand. Urza got herself back up. Urza then summoned a spear and threw it at Izuku. Izuku narrowly dodged it, then grabbed the spear slamming it into the ground. Everyone was watching with interest. This guy has skills, Sora said. After a few more minutes of fighting, Urza raised her hand signaling Izuku to stop. You hold some serious promise, Urza said, not only do you have great fire skill, but incredible strength and speed. All Might must have trained you in his special kind of magic. Yeah, you could say that, Izuku said. And also, Urza was lying about expelling someone, as always said. That's right, Urza said, I just said that to get you all to give it your all in combat. Everyone was shocked to realize this, except for Sora and Momo. I'm surprised nobody figured that out, Sora said, probably should have said something. Well, now we'll be showing you your dormitory and you have the rest of the day and the week to get comfortable. Later on, everyone was walking up to a building with the name Heights Alliance. It was as big as they saw on the brochure. There was also a training court for everyone to work on magic and quirks in secret. As the future heroes and magic users looked and saw the many wonders of their dormitory, they reacted with awe. Awe. Idrin got frustrated with his running gag, then grabbed his keyboard and slammed it on the ground, so the other author had to finish this up for him. This place is so spacious, Mina said, jumping up and down. This is where you'll be staying, Urza said. For the next few years you're all gonna be brothers and sisters, so you would be wise to get along. And I better not hear about a certain someone pulling unspeakable acts. She looked at Mineta, who shrank in fear. Everyone started packing their belongings into their respective dorms. Later on, everyone was at the hangout area. So what should we do for the rest of the day? Kirishima asked. Well, we can spend the rest of the day getting to know each other, Izuku said. Who wants to go first? I'll go, a red-haired boy said. My name's Ejiro Kirishima, and my quirk is hardening. Basically, I can make my body hard to a degree at the cost of speed. That's pretty useful, a girl with earphones on her head said. My name is Kayaka Jiro. My quirk is earphone jacks. I can basically hear sound frequencies and also make shockwaves. My name's Denki Kaminari, and my quirk is electricity, a boy with yellow hair said. I can conduct it and use it for attacks. But if I overuse it? Well, let's not get there yet. I am Shoto Todoroki, Shoto said. I can use fire and ice. The fire side comes from my late father, Endeavor. My brother convinced me to use the fire side because it's what my father would have wanted. A quirk like that can be very useful in certain situations, Momo said. My name is Momo Yaoi Rozu. My quirk is creation, and I can create certain objects as long as I know what they're made of. I also trained with Urza Scarlet to learn magic to boost my quirk. Can you make a bow and arrow? Kaminari asked. I suppose, Momo said. Can you make a sword? Kaminari asked. Yes, Momo said. Ooh, how about a filing cabinet? Kaminari asked. Why would I want to? Momo asked. I'll give you $5 now if you make a. Kaminari said before getting poked by Jiro's earplugs. Please pardon my boyfriend, she said. He can be a total chatterbox sometimes. It's alright, Momo said. Okie dokie, my turn. Said the pink-haired girl. My name is Mina Shido. I can secrete acid from my body, which is the reason why my skin is pink. I also love to dance. My name is Sora K's, and my quirk is a mix with magic, Sora said. I have the air magic from my father's side, whereas my mother has some kind of cyberspace quirk that I can use to enhance my speed. Like Sonic Frontiers. My name's Rikito Sato, said a muscular-looking man. My quirk is Sugar Rush. I can eat sugar and get super strong. But if I overdo it, my it goes down by quite a mile. I'm Hantasiro, a boy with hair down said. My quirk is Tape. It's pretty self-explanatory. I am Tenya Iida, the blue-haired boy said, and my quirk is the engine. It allows me to run at fast speeds. I will be the rule enforcer of this school. The girl who looked like a frog stepped up. Tsuyu Asui, but please. Call me Tsu, Sue said. My quirk is frog. I can basically do whatever a frog can. After the rest of the class introduced themselves, the only two left were Ichako and Izuku. My name is Ichako Uraraka, and my quirk is Zero Gravity, Ichako said. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and my quirk is Dragon Fire, and in addition to that I have body enhancement magic. Since I learned it so late I can use up to 40% without injury. My goal is to be a great hero like my dad was. At first I almost gave up because a girl I used to have a crush on called me a villain, but I didn't let her words get to me. The great goal to have Midoriya, Iida said. Thanks, Izuku said, I have my girlfriend to thank for that. He then kissed her cheek. Later on everyone called it a night and retreated to their dorm rooms. Ichako spent the night in Izuku's dorm. The next day of school went by smoothly. There were the usual classes like English, math, and history. There was also a course on magic and fairy tale taught by Lucy. In the afternoon it was time for the big meet of the school. Hero Training 101. Everyone was in class waiting for the teacher to arrive. Izuku was writing down ideas for his quirk usage. So who do you think is teaching heroics? Kirishima asked. Not sure, but I know they'll do a good job at it, Sora said. Everyone heard triumphant laughter. I am coming through the door like a hero, said a familiar voice. It was none other than All Might who would be teaching. Well, let's hope you all are ready for your first heroics class, because it will pull no punches. All Might said. He pulled out a card that said Battle Trials. Hell yeah, Kitsuki said. And what good is a hero without their costumes? He pressed a button revealing suitcases with numbers. Everyone grabbed their costume and went to go change. Later on everyone was outside in their gear. They were joined by Class 1B who was also in their hero gear. Vlad King, I see your students are ready for today's lesson, All Might said. As always, Vlad said. We're gonna put 1A in their place, Mizu said. She had on some kind of ninja-like costume for her hero armor. I think you'll be the one getting crushed all, Kitsuki said. His hero gear made him look like he was a human grenade. Beside him was Kami who was dressed simply in a zip-up suit. Izuku was walking out of the room with his new hero costume. He had a green bodysuit with a breathable mask and also some kind of cloth tied to his waist. There was also some water packs in case he got dehydrated and also spikes for his legs and arms. Whoa, you look great Deku. Ichako said. Thanks, Ichako. Izuku got a glimpse of Ichako's hero costume and was very glad that he had a mask on. The AI should have gone for something that was less skin tight, Ichako said, plus it's a bit tight around the marshmallows. At that point, Izuku was steaming like a teapot. What's that cloth on your belt? Kaminari asked. You'll see, Izuku said. Now let's get on to the battle training. All Might said, teams of 2 from Class 1A and 1B will face each other in fight combat. One side will be the heroes attempting to find and disarm the bomb. On the other side there will be villains keeping the heroes from finding the bomb. But Mizu said, a chance to take down this villain. Now it's time to pick teams, Vlad said. At this, the teams started getting picked. Just like in canon, Izuku and Ichako were put together as if it was fate. Sora was paired up with Momo, much to the dismay of Mizu. Thank God. Sora thought. Damn it, Mizu mumbled. You really think K's would be teamed up with someone like you? Awase asked. Shut it, you clown. Mizu said. Wow, and I thought I had anger issues, Kitsuki said. He was teamed up with Iida. Now the first team to fight will be these guys. It was Team Izuku versus Team Sora. Well, this shall be interesting. A magic user versus another magic user. As always said. Yes, All Might said, young Midoriya learned fire magic while training for the entrance exam. It's also where he got the body enhancement magic as well. So that's how he managed to hold his own against me, Urza said. Yeah, he's quite the mage. As always said. But if he was put against Mizu, he wouldn't stand a chance. Vlad said. Oh, shut up, Urza said, and quit playing favorites. Nobody likes that. Don't talk to my uncle like that, you hag. Mizu snapped. You also shut up, Pinky. Urza told her. Moving on, young Midoriya's team will be the heroes, whereas K's team will be the villains. Villains go into the building. Heroes have 10 minutes to prepare. Izuku and Ichako were making a plan to stop the bad guys and get the missile. I can take on Sora while you go after the missile, Izuku said. By yourself? Ichako asked. Not a chance. We do this together. In my years of superhero team-up research, nothing comes good from splitting up when you could team up. But. Nothing. She interrupted before Izuku could say anything else. Heroes may enter. All Might said. Izuku took hold of Ichako, then threw his cloth to the building. Hang on tight, he said. With that, he swung them both up to the top of the building. Alright. Now we just need to find the bomb and dismantle it, Izuku said. Let's do it. Meanwhile with Sora and Momo. Alright. I'm bored. I'm going for a walk, Sora said. Sora, we're supposed to do this together, Momo said. Yes. I know. I'll be back. Besides, they'll most likely be forced to split up when I get down there. Worst case scenario, they don't, Sora said. Well, do you have a plan B then in case something goes south? Momo asked. Well no, Sora said. Momo chuckled. You've been like that since we were kids, she said. Flashback. It was a dark and stormy night. A little boy wandered into a mansion. Once inside he found his way into a kitchen. Before he could get something a guard came in with a bat. He began swinging at the little boy as he dodged by moving left and right. When the boy saw an opening, he blasted a gust of air, pushing the guard back. The guard got back up. Okay punk, time to clean your clock, he said. He ran towards him once more until the door barged open. A man in a suit was looking down on them. What is going on here? He asked. No sir. It's my fault, the young child said. I was the one who snuck in here. Your servant was just doing his job fighting off a thief. Mr. Yaoyorozu looked at the boy. You do not fight like one, he said. What is your name, young boy? Sora, sir. Sora told him. Sora, please help yourself, he said. The young girl walked down hearing the commotion. Father, what's wrong? She asked. Momo dear, it's nothing to worry about. Momo noticed a mark on the boy's arm. Fairy Tail, she said. Wait, what? The boy asked. You come from Fairy Tail, don't you? Momo asked. I've heard stories about it, but I never suspected that it was real. So you know magic? Sora nodded. I do, he answered with a smile. The man looked down smiling at his daughter and the young boy getting along so well. Flashback over. And ever since we've basically spent our whole lives together, Sora said. Sora started hearing a few footsteps. Midoriya and Uraraka are coming. I'll guard the bomb, Momo said. And I'll keep them occupied, Sora said as he opened the door. He looked to his left to see Izuku who was smirking. Izuku had flames on his right hand as he smirked at Sora. See if you can take me using 5% of full Inferno, Izuku said. Oh, I think I can handle it. He put his hands together making a small tornado. He then aimed his hands at Izuku pushing him back a bit. Izuku grabbed onto something and did a flip, landing on his feet. The two magic users looked at each other prepared to fight. Izuku shot a few fireballs at Sora, who evaded by dodging left and right. He then grabbed his bostaff. Sora tried hitting Izuku by swinging his bostaff around. Izuku was doing a few dodges and jumps evading the staff. In another room the other students were watching. Eku's no slouch when it comes to combat, Kitsuki said. Please, he's nothing compared to Sora, Mizu said, the way he moves like a leaf. He'll wipe the floor with it nobody. Unless you want an F, I suggest you shut the fuck up, Aizawa said. Mizu was deeply offended by this. Eraserhead just told me to shut up. Yes, thank you Eraserhead, All Might said. Class 1A were trying their hardest to not laugh their asses off. Do you not realize who I am, Mizu said. My daddy owns half of Japan and I will see to it that. She was then put on ice by a certain candy cane boy. Finally, someone to shut her up, Kitsuki said. With an attitude like that, I wonder how she got into UA in the first place, Mina commented. Back at the fight. Izuku channeled up 5% of Ofa into his right arm. I always wanted to try this, Izuku said. He then flicked his arm emitting a gust of air pushing Sora straight to a wall. Damn, that was intense. Sora said, but it's gonna take more than that to take me down. Oh, I wasn't planning that, Izuku said. He was just the distraction. Ichako touched herself and made herself weightless, then she jumped towards the rocket grabbing it. Heroes win. All Might said. Now who can tell me the MVP of this match? Urza asked. Momo raised her hand. That would be Midoriya, Momo said. He knows his quirk and magic are strong, yet he decided to lower the level due to the fact that they were indoors. He also gave Uraraka a plan to follow which she did. In addition to that, Midoriya managed to keep Sora distracted while Uraraka made it to the bomb. Correct, All Might said, and now it will be Team Bakugo versus Team Mizu. Team Mizu will be the heroes, while Team Bakugo will be the villains. A chance to crush this explosive pomegranate, Mizu said as she turned to Kami. Once I've crushed him, you'll probably want to dump him. He's weak. Oh, so I'm assuming you'd like to fight him, fam. Because he doesn't pull punches. Kami told her. He has a villainous quirk, Mizu stated. Someone like you shouldn't be with him, like Uraraka shouldn't be with that dragon fire demon. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Kami said as she was holding her head, wondering why she was even talking to this Akura lookalike bitch. Mizu then grabbed the author by the collar. Say that again and I pound you to a fucking pulp. Heroes may enter. All Might said. Mizu started looking around for the weapon. She heard some footsteps. The footsteps were starting to get faster. She turned around to see Kitsuki in the air. Sup, bitch. Kitsuki shouted as he flew out of the walls. Mizu dodged out of the way. An ambush. Not very mature. Mizu said. Right. By the way, think fast. Kitsuki shouted as he hurled an explosive ball of blood magic. The mix between the blood magic and Kitsuki's explosion quirk was devastating. Not only was the explosion more powerful, but thanks to the blood magic, Kitsuki leached Mizu's blood. Come on, Mizu. Try harder. He told her. Mizu lunged at Kitsuki, 2 katanas at hand. She tried slicing and dicing him. Instead of dodging, Kitsuki just took the water katanas while looking at her with a sadistic grin. Wow, Bakugo doesn't play, Kirishima said. Yay, looks like he learned some magic too. Kaminari said. But why isn't he dodging? With all those hits he's taking, surely he would pass out or die. Momo said. Back at the fight, Mizu was still slicing at Kitsuki with her thinking that he would bleed out soon. Kitsuki then lifted his hand up and put it on Mizu's head. It's ready. Kitsuki said. Have you heard of the new sensation that's sweeping the nation? What sensation? Bitches love cannons. Kitsuki told her. He then shot a massive explosion at Mizu's head as that part of the building flew upwards as Mizu flew out of the building and went through multiple other buildings. As a matter of fact. Why am I protecting the weapon anyway? I could just destroy this entire city if I wanted to. Kitsuki then went on a violent rampage and started blowing up the building that he was in and then started throwing explosives carefree. He was throwing explosives mixed with blood magic till there was nothing but rubble and fire. The only thing the cameras caught was Kitsuki grinning menacingly with his eyes glowing blood red. They all thought they even saw fangs with his teeth. Stop this match, All Might. Vlad said. Alright, Bakugo. Villains won. Now, please stop going on a rampage. All Might said. Fine. But one more thing. Kitsuki then threw another sphere of blood with explosives towards the camera, with everyone in the watch room hearing an explosion, as if a nuke went off. Kitsuki then started walking back. Behind him, red eyes were present. It was Mizu. She lunged at Kitsuki, pinning him down, a sign near his neck. You bastard. The match is over, Dumbus. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lose like this. Mizu shouted. Before Mizu could do anything else, she started getting lightheaded and then passed out. Shouldn't have charged at a blood mage while bleeding, dumbass. Kitsuki told her. Now, piss off. Kitsuki then threw another explosion at her, furthering her injury just for the hell of it. Not gonna lie, she deserved it, Momo said. Well, honestly, if she survives this, I might actually date her. Sora said. Wait, really? Momo asked in shock. BFFT, no. Sora said, not able to say that with a straight face. Thank God, Momo thought. Later on, everyone was in the waiting room. So who is the MVP? All Might asked his students. Mixu. Vlad stated. Honestly, I don't think anyone is the MVP, but if it had to be anyone, it would be Ida. Iida was the only one who took his position seriously, as Kitsuki just went to fight Mizu out of his own hatred for her and then proceeded to destroy the entire city, as if he just lost control over all emotions. To be fair, I did have the position as a villain. Kitsuki noted. Furthermore, Mizu acted more like a villain rather than a hero, Momo said, attempting to attack Bakugo like that. Bitch, he had it coming. Mizu snapped. Momo simply socked Mizu in the face. Didn't see that coming, did you? She asked. Class continued as normal. A lot of students showed their potential with quirks and magic. Soon class ended and All Might retreated. Izuku was heading back to his dorm. He heard footsteps of a little girl. Huh? Izuku asked. The little girl then bumped into him as she stumbled on the ground. Please don't let go. Hey, are you okay? Izuku asked. Excuse my daughter. She gets a little jumpy at times. Said a voice. Daughter? Yeah, we were roughhousing a bit, tickle fights and such, so she kinda ran off. Said the bird-masked man. Izuku noticed the bandages. Then why does she have bandages? Izuku asked. She's a bit clumsy at times. She falls down the stairs a lot. Izuku didn't believe this one bit. Somehow he knew this guy was no good. He held onto the girl tightly. "So, if I could have my daughter back, I'll be on my way," said the man. "No. I don't think I will," Izuku said. The man pulled his glove off. "Then you've sealed your fate." Izuku's eyes went slit and the last thing the man realized, his hand flew right off. "Aw, fuck," shouted the man in pain. "What's the matter, bird face? Aren't you gonna use your quirk?" Izuku asked in a menacing tone as his arm took the form of a fiery draconic head with green fire forming behind himself. "Wait, you what the fuck? How?" "Fuck you. That's how," Izuku said. "Now, unless you want to lose more limbs, I suggest you leave." The man started limbing away from danger. The little girl hugged Izuku and started to fall asleep. He picked her up and started to carry her to Recovery Girl. Meanwhile, in another location, a battleship was approaching a palace. It started to come to a landing. As soon as it landed on foot, dozens of soldiers started to come out. There were ninjas and soldiers with mysterious cyber-like weapons. There were also a few flying troops. They started to form lines of troops. Someone used magic to teleport in front of them. Behold, the cyber lord, King Katsuo. He slammed his scepter down and the doors to the fortress opened. It revealed a man with gray hair and strange tattoos all over his body and hands. This was the leader of the cyber guild, Katsuo. He was known to be a very dangerous person feared by many who use quirks and magic. Katsuo started making his way toward the palace doors as he knew the people there were hiding something that he was after. After a few steps he stopped. "Open the palace doors or die." The doors opened up. From the shadows they looked like powerful foes for the cyber soldiers to fight. But the smoke cleared and it was revealed to be none other than a tribe of young adults. The chief walked up and saw the king of the cyber guild and smirked. "Attack." They all started casting a few magic spells. However, they were not aimed at the guild. They were aimed at a dummy. One of the spells hit one of Katsuo's men, but he got back up quickly. The chief held his hand up signaling his men to stop. "That was merely a small sample of what we are capable of," he said. "Anyone who trespasses the Silver Guild will end up like this dummy." He looked at Katsuo, showing no signs of remorse. "Do you yield?" Katsuo was not threatened by the chief. "I do not." The tattoos on his arm began to glow. Katsuo moved his hands to the side. The people suddenly started to float and were moved to the sides. This was known as ether gear, a powerful form of attack, even stronger than magic. Katsuo walked forward and raised his left hand. He slammed it down to the ground and a fire cyclone emerged from the sky, destroying the palace. The Silver Guild members looked in horror as Katsuo was destroying their home. After the smoke cleared, something was shining. "Ah," Katsuo said. He started walking up the stairs to some kind of glass case. Katsuo then smashed the case open, revealing some kind of artifact. It was the one thing he needed to tip the scales in his favor and make himself a true ruler. His goal was nearly complete. "Ha, I finally found it," he said victoriously, "and now no one can stop me." Recovery Girl was filling out some paperwork. As she continued her work, the doors were kicked from the hinges and embedded against the wall. "Granny Chio, she needs attention," Izuku said. "Okay, but did you really need to kick down my door?" Chia asked. "Lay her down over there and I'll do a checkup." "My hands were full, what did you expect?" Izuku asked as he put the little girl down. "What's your name?" Recovery Girl asked. "Eri," the girl known as Eri said. "And my name is Izuku Midoriya," Izuku said. Eri looked down to the floor. "I'm sorry you had to waste your time on me," she said sadly. "Eri, I didn't waste my time. In fact, I like to say I was at the right place at the right time," Izuku told her. "After all, it's a hero's job to protect people who are in danger." "Oh really?" "Of course," Izuku said as he patted her head. The Chako made her way to the infirmary. Hearing this was where Izuku was. She was gonna knock on the door until she saw it was embedded to the wall. Knock knock. "Come in, Uraraka. There's not much of a door left," Chio noted. Eri hid behind Izuku as she was very shy around new people and scared of them. "Oh, it's okay, Eri. She's friendly," Izuku told Eri. Eri then peeked her head over Izuku's shoulder to get a glimpse of a Chako. "She's pretty," Eri whispered. "I know," Izuku whispered back. "So, anyway. Achako, this is Eri. Eri, this is Achako." "Oh, she is so cute," Achako said as she bent down. "Hi, my name is Achako Uraraka." "Apado Yubabapa." At this, Izuku laughed at Eri's pronunciation. No Eri. Achako Uraraka." Achako repeated. "Babado Udadaba." Izuku then started to turn purple from laughing too hard. "Can you say Izuku Midoriya?" Achako asked. "Ipapu." Izuku then stopped laughing at what Eri just called Izuku. This time, Achako was laughing even harder than Izuku. "So where did she come from?" Achako asked. "Well, from a guy who had a plague doctor mask, but it just covered the mouth." Izuku noted. You mean that guy? Recovery girl asked. Izuku nodded. All I know is that he isn't a threat anymore without his hands, Izuku said. Ochako gasped. You didn't. I did. Izuku told her. Well, I want to say a bad word right now, but I know better than to say one near a child. You're just handicapped an S-class villain. That guy is named Kaichisaki, widely known as Overhaul. Now how did you tear his hands off? Chiyo asked. He summoned a giant fire lizard with his arm and blew his hands off. Eri said, it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. Okay, the fact that a child said that to someone getting turned into lizard food tells me that you'll probably need therapy. Chiyo said. Now, about the girl. I think I have the answer to that, said a familiar voice. It was none other than Principal Nezu. Eri looked at him curiously. It's a mouse, she said as she pointed at him. Well, it's unclear what species of animal I am. Am I a mouse or a small bear? Nobody really knows. Anyway, judging by the bandages on Eri's arms and legs, she's actually a torture victim. Nezu explained. Yes sir, Izuku said. Well, since you saved her from that guy I think you should become her guardian and adopt her, Nezu said. What does adopt mean, Mr. Bear? Eri asked. Well Eri, it means Midoriya will be looking after you. Basically he'll be your daddy. Nezu explained. Wait what? Izuku asked, a bit shocked. Eri looked up to Izuku and said one word that changed his life. Daddy? That is the most wholesome thing I've ever seen. Ochako said. Eri hugged Izuku showing no signs of letting go. Well I guess I'm your daddy then, Izuku said as he turned to Ochako with a smile, but that means Ochako is mommy. Ochako's eyes went wide after hearing that. Mommy. Well, it would only make sense. I declare you man and wife. You are officially a family. Nezu told the two teens. Eri then went to hug Ochako's leg. I love you mommy, she said. Tears started forming in her eyes. After a few seconds she lost it and hugged Eri picking her up. You're my baby. She said, you're my baby and I love you so much. Anyway, we should probably keep Eri safe from the crowd control. Especially Ashido seeing she could be a little Izuku said. And of course Kakin with his uncontrollable foul language. Izuku said. You don't think he'd be so foul to a 6-year-old, right? Ochako asked. Mommy daddy who are you talking about? Eri asked. Our classmates, Eri. One of them gets overexcited, the other one is a foul mouth. And by the way, Ochako, yes. Yes he would. Izuku said. In a stunning turn of events, a dangerous criminal has been turned into a joke. Without his hands he can't kill anyone, a newsperson said. We recently had an interview with a pro hero, Tenko, and this is what he had to say. The camera turned to Tenko Samura, known to the public simply as Tenko. I witnessed the person firsthand, Tenko stated, although the man refused to comment who he is, rest assured he is someone we can trust. Tenko Shimura. Pro hero, Tenko. Well he has a decay quirk, he relies on the magic he learned which allows him to use his hands as fighting projectiles. The next day of class was starting. Ochako still carrying Eri in a motherly fashion. Izuku opened the door. And the two of them were hoping they could make it to their room without anyone seeing. Unfortunately. Midoriya. Uraraka. I hear you two have a child with you. Ashido shouted. Fuck. Izuku and Ochako thought simultaneously. Who told you? Izuku asked. I heard the author writing about it the past few pages, Mina said. I have ways Midori. I have ways. Eri looked at the pink-skinned girl curiously. Is she from outer space? Eri asked. We were wondering the same thing, Izuku said. My name is Mina Ashido, Mina said before noticing a horn on Eri's head. Is that a horn? Eri nodded at this as she felt her horn. That's so cute Eri, look. Mina said as she pointed to her horns. I have two. Eri then reached up to Mina's horns to try and feel them, while still being held on by Ochako. Mina giggled as it tickled. Urza walked in. So I have your reports from fight training, Urza stated, many of you show promise. Especially you Midoriya. Just work on improving that output of yours. Also you might benefit from getting a support item for those flames of yours. As for you Bakugo, you're talented, but keep the ego under control, as always said. Now on to the next agenda. Choosing your class president. Everyone immediately voted for Izuku. Wait, how did I get all the votes? Izuku asked. Let's see, Ochako said, you're talented, you're the best in the class, and you're very smart. That's right, you put in a combination of 3 things, Iida said, hard work, dedication, and hard work. You said hard work twice, Jiro said. That's because he puts in twice as much work as dedication, Iida said. That's true, Jiro commented. The next few classes were going swell. There was rescue training, physical exercise and also a few classes for those who are studying magic. Izuku decided to take a few of those to help keep his flames under control. He would need to for what was coming up soon. Meanwhile at the gates of UA, someone was walking up. Principal Nezu was expecting this person and walked up to her smiling. "I trust your travel was well?" he asked. "It sure was," she said. "I'm here to develop a support item for your new classmate. But while I'm here I can also pay a visit to Uncle Might." This was part 1. Hope you guys enjoyed this story. If this part gets 100 likes then I will upload part 2. And please do subscribe to my channel. See you all in the next part.